Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to episode 181 of Let's Talk Oculus. I am your host as always, and I'm joined by my co-host as always, Samson. Sorry, I forgot to say my name. I'm Dan. I'm joined by Samson. How you doing, Samson?
I'm Samson, and I'm joined by Dan.
That's right.
That's right. I'm doing well. How are you?
Not bad. This is what happens when we're recording this podcast a little bit later on than we normally do, and it's straight after work, so the head's a bit cloudy. But we have a solid show lined up for the folks at home. This is going to be back to our regular scheduling program. Last week we covered Super Hot and did a bit of a
hot,
a little bit of a throwback to the past, which was really fun, and we have some comments to reflect that, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But we're going to go through a few things. There's a hot topic right now where people are saying that video games are just too expensive, and it started off with the Switch 2 announcement, and it's also leaked into VR with price announcements that's just happened recently. So we're going to talk about that. We also have
tariffs don't help.
Tariffs don't know. We also just have a bunch of game announcements to go through. We had the Ruff Talk VR showcase to talk about. We have a bunch of new releases in April. And then also I got into Wanderer, Fragments, and Fate of Quest, so we'll give it a deep dive of what my thoughts were. And Samson got into a bit of Hitman VR for the PSVR 2, which apparently, according to reviews, is much better than the Quest version of that game. But, Samson could fill us in on what he thinks a little bit later.
Little tease.
Sounds a bit of quick housekeeping for everybody. If you've not already, come and join the Discord below. We had a few people join the Discord recently as well, so welcome to the Let's Talk Oculus community. But the link is in the description below. Join in down. And we also do a Walkabout session every Thursday. We have had a few new people join us on the Walkabout, which is always fun. Me and Samson normally are there on Thursdays, so come join us if you want to. That's at 7 p.m.
Yeah, 7 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to Dave, though, who held down the fort the 1 week we couldn't make it a couple weeks back. Yeah,
so even if we can't make it, there will be Dave helping us along as well.
There will be Dave.
Also, Samson, the Walkabout Season 9 tournament that we do every week, Healing Entree, member of our community who hosts that, Season 9 is starting soon, where there'll be 2 courses, an easy and a hard, and you can enter in stroke play and race mode as well and see how you fare amongst the rest of the community. It's always a good time. Yeah.
But did you know there's a pre-season challenge going on right now, and it ends April 13th. So even if you're listening to this on the first few days after we go live, you still got a chance to submit. And that is Cherry Blossom Easy. Oh, wait, Dan, I forgot to... I buried the lead here, because these are slingshot challenges.
Yes, right.
Slingshot challenges. So Walkabout offers many a thing to do other than golf, and one of those things is slingshot challenges. And there are a few courses with these slingshot challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry Blossom Easy, timed challenge, and then submit your score. Coyote Valley Hard has hit all targets, and then submit your score. Yeah, hit all targets takes me forever.
Yeah.
And then Alfheim Hard, do the 10-ball challenge.
Nice. And if you've forgotten all that already, you can obviously go back 15 seconds on this podcast, or if you just join on the Discord, go into the Walkabout Stuff channel. You'll see the nice little graphic that Healing Entree has put together in there. Final little thing, if you like us so much, consider supporting us at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Even just $1 helps with these expensive game prices, as we'll talk about later. Let's get into some comments though, Samson. We have quite a few comments to read out. So do you want to start off here?
I'd love to. From Judd Rizzo on YouTube episode 179. What do you guys think of the Halo mods for contractors? Have you guys tried streaming Xbox apps to Quest? And if so, what do you think of it? specifically Halo. I haven't tried it yet.
It's a big Halo fan.
Yeah. Samesies. And I have tried the Halo mod for contractors. I had pretty good fun with it. The maps are, here's the thing. I didn't play that much like Halo 2 and on. I played a lot more Halo 1 than I did the others.
Right.
So the maps don't feel that nostalgic to like Halo 2 and all that, but all the maps are still there. I'm more inclined to play the Battlefield, Battlefront mods for contractors.
Fair.
I prefer those, but the Halo mod is there. I don't think it feels as good as the Battlefront mod. But also, Dan, I had to play as the alien weapons because I could not figure out how to reload. Tucker, who I was playing with, he could reload the guns just fine. So I imagine it's something you could teach yourself. I've only given it a go, 1 or 2 nights in the Halo mods.
Yeah.
Because
I like the alien guns anyway, how they just overheat, the needler and the plasma rifle. Good times. I have a lot of nostalgia for Halo 2 maps myself, to be honest. I haven't tried this, but the Halo 2 maps are so good, in my opinion. But that's probably biased. It's one of those ones where wherever you started in terms of playing multiplayer, that's probably the one that you'll have the bias of. I know people have Halo 3 for sure.
And I have also played the Halo mod on PC a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But when I ran into a personal hiccup where I didn't know how to turn on my flashlight, and in the first level you have to go through the dark. Like it teaches you how to use the flashlight, and so you're meant to use it. And I just couldn't get through it without using the flashlight. But nobody else I talked to had that problem, and I just haven't given it.
This is the Halo VR mod,
It's on the PC,
yeah.
I don't know. I forget who made it, so
Fair.
Can't give them credit right now. But
Fair. Yeah, I've not heard too much about the Halo VR PC mod, to be honest. So maybe it's not one of the popular ones. But yeah, if you want to look that up. In terms of the other question, streaming Xbox app, I did want to try it again for the show, but I didn't get time. So I need to try it for sure to tell you what my updates are. But I have tried it in the past. It doesn't really matter specifically Halo or any game, to be honest. I had a tough time getting in because if you've ever tried cloud streaming, there's like a wait list that happens. So if you go at peak times, so I don't know, let's say Friday night, for example, it's quite difficult sometimes to get into the game depending on which game it is. Yeah, you do have to wait and such. So I just never got in. And the one time, I can't remember what game, because I did try this when it first released. When I got in, it didn't really play that well, and then I got kicked out straight away and such. So it may be more stable right now, but I'll have to test it. But with that, I'll have to get another Game Pass Ultimate subscription for it to work. So
for me, I didn't play with a wired controller into my headset, and there was just input lag that was too bad for me. So I couldn't play anything.
Yeah, fair enough. So we say all this, though. It's being pushed quite a lot right now. I've seen some advertisements on Instagram and YouTube and such that Meta have been funding other creators to do. So maybe it's one of those things that have gotten better now. So I would need to try it yourself. But if you do try it, then let us know as well. Just write back in. Yeah, because otherwise I have to get Ultimate subscription, and I don't tend to want to. But I'll do it. I'll do it for the listeners.
You can find those in the bottom of like Cracker Jack boxes, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Did you get the mod at all, or did you get the name for it?
Oh, it was yes, I did. Living Frame. GitHub.
Perfect. All right, next comment comes from, all these next comments are all for episode 180. So this is the Super Hot VR Revisited episode. Matt mentioned on Spotify, regular commenter on the show. He says, I enjoyed the first Revisited episode. It was fun learning about the history and facts for Super Hot VR. The episode inspired me to also revisit Super Hot on Quest. I had a blast playing. He also says he had a blast playing Walkabout with the Discord group on Thursday. He said the mini mode with low gravity was wild. Thanks for writing in again, Matt.
Challenge.
And yeah, we did in that in that session that we played in mini mode for a couple. No, just one of them, right? And then we also played simultaneous mode because there was so many of us. But it was a good time. We had a really good time.
Yeah,
but
we did simultaneous mode, but we took it hole by hole.
Yeah, hole by hole. So we didn't, no one was left behind. It was a good. And then revisiting Superheart. This is why I like the episode as well, because I listen to some other gaming podcasts which are non VR, and when they talk about they always talk about like iconic game like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time or something. But every time they talk about something like that, it's like, oh, I really fancy just playing it again or just getting into the mood. So I'm glad it had that same effect. Samson, do you want to read this next comment out?
I'd love to. From Jesse. Loved the revisited launch. I don't know if anyone suggested, and I may have missed it, but I think Walking Dead Saints and Sinners would be great for a revisit.
Yeah, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, I think, will be on the list for sure. There's a lot of stuff out there as well that you can find. I actually, just curious, so I asked ChatGPT, I was like, can you find any like history on this game or on such? And it gave me a ton of articles, a ton of podcasts, developer interviews that all came out in like 2020 and such. And I was like, oh, great. Okay, this is what I could watch and research and such. So there's a ton of content. Samson, how do you feel about jumping into Walking Dead as a game that you're, it's a horror game in the end of the day?
Yeah, I definitely never finished that one, so it would be a visited for me. But I'm open to it, but I'm definitely more interested in the next comments going to that one prior.
TPZ on Discord also says, my suggestion for revisiting a forgotten game would be Lucky's Tale. It was the first VR platform I played. I think it holds up pretty well. It's good for someone who wants to sit and not swing their arms around. I have never played Lucky's Tale. I know it's called, I think, Super Lucky's Tale on the flat screen version. I know you can buy it from Steam Deck and such, but people do say it's like a good, at least the flat screen version, it's like very reminiscent of Mario 64. So I'm very curious. I actually never played this. Did you ever play Lucky's
I played
Tale?
a bit of it. I never finished this one.
Yeah, well, do you want to read the next comment?
It's in the backlog.
It kind of leads into it.
I'd love to. From Pow Pow. Lucky's Tale's a solid game. Like TP stated, it holds up really well for being so old. I think it's probably my favorite platformer, just barely beating out Max Mustard. Back then, I gave it a 9.3 out of 10. Today, it's still a solid 8 to 8.5.
Nice.
I do love Max Mustard.
Yeah, I know. That's a big statement right there because Max Mustard is so good. Samson, Lucky's Tale might have to be the next one, just because
it's more manageable. I think I could beat this one as opposed to completing
Walking Dead. Yeah, we will get to Walking Dead though. I think it'll be a fun one for sure. But maybe Lucky's Tale might be the next one. Who's to say? We need to discuss off air for sure. But that's all the comments. Thanks so much for writing in. And if you want to write in yourself, if you on Spotify listening to this, you can put a comment in. We also have the YouTube channel, which has the video version of this podcast. You can put a comment in there. And also on the Discord, there's an episode discussion channel, and you can put a comment in there as well. And if it's readable, then we'll read it. Some people have said great episode and such, which is great. I appreciate that as well. All right, let's get into the news. We have a few news stories to talk about. Let's talk about the big kind of like topic one. Civilization VII VR price and release date got announced. Civ 7. It comes out this week. Yes.
This week.
Yes. It comes out as you're listening to this. It's probably already out. But it's announced its price, and it comes in as like a hefty price tag comparable to other VR games on the platform. It comes in as $60 US, and the price does line up to their PC and console counterparts, so no surprise there. But it has sparked debate online whether or not prices are too expensive for games. And as mentioned at the top of the show, it comes at the same week where Nintendo announced their Switch 2, with the prices of their games being the big controversial, with Mario Kart coming in at $80 digital, $90 physical, Donkey Kong coming in at $70 and such. So the prices vary depending on the game itself. So people are already talking about that, but then this also came out on the same week. So let's talk about it a little bit, Samson, because Wanderer also, as we'll talk about in part 2, that's also an expensive game. I think that was like 55 or 45 $50 around that price. I can't remember because I bought it in Canadian dollars, and it was quite expensive for Canadian dollars, to be honest.
Those aren't worth much.
No, Wanderer's $50, so $50 USD. So I knew it was one of them. Let's talk about it. Let's on the surface level first, Sam. So what do you think of the price tags for these games? Are they too expensive?
Which games?
Civs. I'd say the top level one, like Civ and Wanderer.
I say I'm more surprised in Mario Kart being $80 than I am in Civ 7 being $60. Like
That's
for
fair.
sure.
Yeah.
But I think I stand where sort of where the Live Open Mike mentioned in our Discord, where it's sort of a regression back to the mean, where the times of being able to buy every VR game, I think, are behind us. And
You speaking on experience?
I do feel like and I just feel like back in the 90s, early aughts, all this, you wouldn't own that many games for each console, right? When I was a kid, I had Crash Bandicoot, I had Crash Team Racing, I had Crash Bandicoot 2. You know what I mean? Like, eventually I had Crash Bandicoot Warped.
Yeah.
And, I don't really... I did have Crash Bash.
Love Crash Bash.
I don't really remember owning that many games. I certainly didn't own a PlayStation and an N64.
Yeah.
So these are all like luxury items, right? Like,
For sure.
As much as now in my adult life, I love to spend almost all my disposable income on this hobby. Doesn't mean that everybody's doing that or should do that. Definitely don't recommend doing it. And so, it's a downer, but everybody's got to eat. And what I would much prefer is that I got paid more, because that would make the price of games
Your normal wage
a little less harder.
Right.
A little less easy, a little more easy to
easy to handle. Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you, to be honest. I don't mind. I put this on Twitter and also put it on our Discord as well. But I don't mind the expensive price for games in the VR sense, and the reason being is one, hopefully that means better quality games. And not just better quality games, but also less layoffs, right, with the industry and such. You're hoping that will equate to it, even though the Civ team did lay off a bunch of members recently as well. So, with the game not even being out yet. But that's one thing I hope. The other reason why I don't mind it as much is because the Quest does have a lot of good sales. It's not Steam sales.
True. It's not Nintendo, though. Right,
exactly. That's the thing. In a Nintendo sense, obviously, if we just quickly talk on that one, my problem with that is that Nintendo don't have sales when it comes to their first-party stuff. And if it is, it's like 10%. It's even. Like,
what they've done here with Mario Kart is they're trying to get you to get the bundle.
Right. They're trying to do that, right? But at the same time, I convinced myself, because I was like, I'm not going to get a Switch 2, not at launch anyway. But if I was, I'd buy Mario Kart for the $80, because I know I'm going to play it for the next 5-6 years. I still played Mario Kart 8, for example. So if I think of it that sense, I don't mind it as much. But I think most people who are not happy with this is one, just because it's a very norm of buying a lot of games and being accessible, but they will come down. Like Civ will eventually be like maybe 40% off, 30% off if you don't need to get it at launch. And also they might add it to the games catalog for Quest at some point, so paying that small subscription fee just to get access to the game might be absolutely fine for a lot of people. You do that with Asgard's Wrath, for example, and a bunch of others. Batman's obviously available for free with Quest owners and such. So that's why I don't mind as much. But I think I see what people think. Everything's getting expensive. It's
not a
just
tasty pill to to eat.
Everything's getting expensive.
Swallow,
But yeah, to swallow, yes. But it's one of those things. It's a tricky situation. I think as long as it benefits the VR companies, helps with the quality, reduces layoffs, and doesn't mean that a $25 game can now just bump it up to like $50, $60 because that's the price, and which I don't think is going to happen on Quest, because that's just not how the games aren't just set in one price on Quest, unlike PS5, for example. So yeah, I don't think it's much of a problem. I am in a luxury where I can afford to pay for these games for sure. I can't speak to someone who isn't in that fortunate situation, of course, but I think sometimes, like you said, you don't need to buy every game. If you can wait, maybe if Civ's the game that you're going to play, you could have Civ and maybe one other game for the year or something, or try and reduce. Or there's lots of good indie experiences too. So yeah, it's a touchy subject for sure, but I don't think it's a problem. We're just gonna change our thinking of too much overconsumption. I looked at the N64 games and such, and they were like $90 as well. Expensive.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very skewed with the niche that I'm in and the community I maintain, right? Like, I hang out with a lot of people that play a lot of games.
Yeah.
But the greater whole of people do not play that many games.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was also a little bit, for us, because we're not in the Quest Creator Program, we didn't get, well, not even in that program in general, but just like, we don't get Civ for free. Wanderer cost me $50 USD, which converted to Canadian was a tough pill to swallow, as you mentioned. But I was like,
actually, I misremembered the idiom. You nailed it though. So.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that was tough. When I saw Wanderer, I was like, oh man, that's so expensive. That's almost the same price as a standard PlayStation 5 game. And what if I don't like it? I know that there's bugs and such with the game and issues, but I want to play it for the show. I want to talk about it, so I got it anyway. But it does have that 2-hour refund if it is terrible and such. So you do have that option as well, which doesn't exist in some other platforms like Nintendo, for example. You buy a digital game for $80, you don't like it, you're stuck with it. So yeah, I think that's everything to say on the price increases. But talking about price increases, our next news story, another price increase. Walkabout has increased its price. It's now going to go from $15 USD to $25 USD. However, yeah, but what is the but, Samson? What is the but?
But the base will now include 6 more courses: Sweetopia, Laser Lair, Shangri-La, Upside Down, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Alfheim.
Yeah, exactly. And this change happens from May 1st. And if you don't have those courses already, but you own the base game, from May 1st, you'll get all those courses for free.
Grandfathered in.
And then for the people like us who have bought every course or have got every course, nothing changes there.
So what you're saying, Dan, is that right now, until May 1st, it's the best time to buy Walkabout because it's only $15.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get 6 free DLCs on May 1st.
Yeah. Wow. So if you don't own Walkabout, which is crazy if you were listening to the show because we talk about it half the time, get it now. $15. I didn't realize how cheap it was because obviously I've bought it since Quest 2. Absolute steal. Absolute steal, even with just the base courses. But now it's got so many courses in there and a lot of good DLC ones. And, they've released a statement, but paraphrasing, they're just like some of the DLC courses, like just out trump some of the ones that the base ones as well. And they're so like different because they've gone so far with it. That it's worth having in because it shows a different side of the game.
Exactly. They want to offer people new to the game what has been added. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the Laser Lair, right? So that offers insight. Ooh,
Yeah.
I like the lasers. What's this ice layer?
Right.
Ooh,
Right.
what could that possibly be? And then I like the addition of Upside Down because that's as weird. Well, almost as weird. There's also Meow Wolf, I suppose, but Upside Down is
But once again, if
wacky.
you like Upside Down and you like the wackiness, you got Meow Wolf, which is another wacky one that you can get
in a very different way. But yeah, I understand.
But yeah, like the DLC,
it's great.
The DLC content alone is worth $24. So, you know, for the base game for 25, which includes all that and the game, then no brainer. No brainer. Remember, you got guest pass, so come join us in the Discord if you want to play courses just to try them out, because we have them, and then you can do guest pass and you can play them anyway. Oh, right. Next one, Gorn 2 announced, hot off the press before we just recorded this, actually. It is coming out for Steam and Quest next week.
Oh boy.
They didn't announce that release date. I didn't think it was going to come till a bit later on, but PSVR 2 players will have to wait till summertime. Not that bad. If you know, PSVR 2 is probably not the best place to play this game unless you obviously only have that one. Quest is probably the best place just because the wire for Gorn 2 may be the issue because you are throwing your hands. And also, if you're playing a PSVR 2, your TV's in front of you unless you're playing it, you know, turning around and such. So if you play Gorn 2 on your PSVR 2, make sure you don't face the TV because, yeah,
or
you
a
know
window.
We don't, yeah, or a window or a wall. Just have a lot of space.
To the window.
To the wall. Maestro has announced its DLC, Maestro Doombound pack. It includes 5 songs or 5 pieces, as their classical songs. Lord of the Rings is one of those songs or pieces. Game of Thrones theme is also Lord of the Rings. It's the main theme as well. That's in there. You'll know if you're a Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah, we'd sing it, but you know, DMCA.
Right. That's why. But that is available as of now, as I believe, while the time you're listening to this. So that's the Maestro Doombound pack. I haven't had a chance before this pod to play it yet, but I definitely will next week. And I still haven't played Maestro in general, even though I've had it since November. And I can't believe it. So this is it. This week, I'm going to play Maestro, and we'll talk about it next week.
I'm holding you to it.
Yeah. Do you like those kind of pieces? Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones?
I am a big fan of the Game of Thrones theme. It was my ringtone for a little bit.
Really?
Not going to lie about that. Yeah.
That was surprising. Yeah.
I'm old, and so is Game of Thrones. That was back in the time when you let your phone ring. And then I'm a fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, movies, that is. But I've never read the epic.
I've never read the books either. I would love to read the books. It is on my list, but I haven't. But I've watched the films, extended editions. Love that series. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's the only way.
You ever crush them all in one day? That's a good day.
No, I used to do the extended editions like once a year and would watch one every day. Yeah, so like Friday night,
that's
Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, it's a good time. It's good winter activity, you know. 2
breakfasts every day.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. All right, that is the Maestro Doombound pack. We have another DLC. Viking rhythm game Ragnarock gets an Alstorm DLC today. I think I'm saying that right, or Ailstorm. That is
I won't try to correct you.
A Scottish pirate rock band. And it's got 6 of their tracks, including a pirate metal skin pack as well, with a bunch of different cosmetic items. I don't know. I didn't list these songs, but it fits.
It is a fun rhythm game, but it's one I haven't been in a while, and it's lower on my list than my favorite rhythm games.
Yeah,
of Synth Riders, Smash Drums, and even Beat Saber.
Fair enough. It's funny, I just on my watch as we're recording this, it just popped up as saying Wanderer Fragments of Fate. Oh. No, not that one. It says Wanderer Fragments. It's from MetaQuest. It says Wanderer Fragments of Fate. Did you miss out on this? Did you not want to buy it and such? And I was like, I did buy it. I did play it for a couple hours. But anyway, this is the recommendations we have. Next news story, Meta is now the UFC technology partner. If I read that correctly, basically it's the official fan technology partner, which includes a collaboration of all Meta's products, including the Quest. And they said it's going to leverage its leading technologies to deliver unprecedented engagement with hundreds of millions of UFC fans around the world, immerse your fans deeper into UFC content more than ever before. So more UFCs, like the NBA League Pass and such. They already have a few, but more of
you
that
think so?
to come.
I feel
Probably.
like, so I do feel like VR and watching UFC is like the smaller part of this. This is mostly, I feel like, a big marketing deal.
Probably.
But I do think that there will be, at least from the conversations I've had in the Rough Talk Discord, that there will be some sort of watching UFC.
Yeah, for sure.
Potentially.
I saw the
Who
picture
knows,
of
really?
Zuckerberg and Dana White having a good time and such, and it reminded me that
Yeah,
Dana White's
big
on the
buddies.
board of Meta, and I'm not going to get political on this podcast, but it did leave a sour taste in my mouth, and I was like, I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting those ties.
They're big buddies.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Rough Talk VR showcase. Our friends at the Rough Talk VR podcast, they had their showcase last Friday with a bunch of cool indie games. They did a great job. It was like just over an hour long. And they also had like a pre-show with some more games in the pre-show. And they had a post-watch show as well. So they had a lot going on. It was they had
A lot of shows.
A lot more than I realized, actually. We're not going to go through the whole thing on this show, but any notable games that you wanted to mention?
Dan, I love the Airspace Defender bit because it went not necessarily day by day, but it took out
they did this timeline, right?
Yeah, they did a whole timeline of
cool.
how the game came along, and I recognized when I got the game, and I was like, "Ooh,
and
I got to get back in." It looks so different from when even
that was
I think
a cool
it was
trailer.
like 120 days or something.
Yeah, it was 120 days, I think. Yeah, that was a cool trailer where it showed out the changes, and it was really fun trailer.
And other than that, I'm excited for the Among Us rebrand. I'm kind of excited to try to play it on Steam flat. I just want to kind of experience what that's like
first person
flat. But I'm hoping it will help me branch out my Among Us crew into my COVID pandemic Among Us flat friends.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. We get some Among Us games going. In the
How about you? You like anything in here?
The only one that kind of shot at me was actually the first one on the showcase, which was Clean Sheet, Samba, and Streets. I don't know, Samson, if you're aware of the street games that EA used to put out. They had a NFL
Street
one, FIFA Street. There we go. That was the one. They also did NBA Street, Madden. I don't know what the Madden one's called. Was it Madden Street?
Is NFL Street or something?
Yeah, NFL Street or so. But I used to absolutely love the FIFA Street games. In fact, I've got them on my Steam Deck as well. Even though just because I just wanted to have them because I was like, this is childhood and such. Loved the FIFA Street games back as a kid, and this is exactly what it reminded me of. This in Clean Sheet, you play as the goalie. And I've never played Clean Sheet. I'll probably add this to my list to buy, maybe for the next sale or something like that. But you play as the goalie in net, and the Samba and Streets, instead of being on an actual football pitch or a soccer pitch, you're in like the streets.
Like
football.
a tiny,
tiny little rectangle. You're on concrete and such. The walls are there as well. Really fun in FIFA Street. You used to do lots of tricks and such, and it was a good time. So I'm curious what it'd be like as playing as the goalkeeper. But I think I'm going to pick this one up for sure. But I'll probably wait for sale. Cool. Anyway, well done to the Rough Talk team for sure. That was a solid showcase, and look forward to it next year for sure. Samson, we forgot to announce on the show at the start that we'll both be at PAX East. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah. Woo, 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 woo. And friend of the show, Noble Squashy.
Yeah, we'll be at PAX East. I'm going to be there on a Friday, Saturday. Samson will probably be there for all 4 days potentially.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
if
yep, yep.
anyone's listening and they're going or planning to go, or in the like Boston area and such, come on down. Come on down.
Come on down.
Coming down. We'll say hi. We'll meet you. We'll go for food or whatever. And yeah, just come on down. If we'll be there. We'll be probably lurking around the VR area more than anything, but we'll be looking around.
Yeah,
but
we'll see. There's some speedrun areas I wanted to check out.
Yeah, for sure. They'll probably have the Switch 2 there too, right? Although that'll be very difficult to be big ass lines.
Yeah, you got to get there Thursday pre-lines.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, Thursday night. But anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to shout that out. If anyone's interested in going or planning to go, we'll be there, which will be fun. Okay, so a couple more game announcements, and then we'll wrap up this part. Breachers and Thrasher are the 2 Quest Plus monthly redeemable games for April.
Pew, pew, pew.
So you can grab it and play with Samson on Friday nights, and also
or other nights.
Oh, other nights, yeah. There's a bunch of VR games coming out in April itself. So let's just give you a quick rundown. Pinball FX VR is out already. Comes with, I think, 3 different pinball tables, but then you could buy like 7 more or something like that.
I picked it up, Dan.
Games. Did you?
I did.
Excellent.
I got in there a little bit, not too much.
No, are you a big pinball fan? So you loved your Star Wars pinball and such.
I do like.
Does it feel very similar?
But here's the thing, Dan. I don't think VR can give me the frame rate I need for pinball at the rate I want. It's like the one time I notice the frame rate in gaming. But I played the Addams Family table. And
the Quest can go up to 120 hertz, right? So it was a bit surprising, but
I don't think it plays it on 120 though.
Probably not. No, probably not.
Especially in mixed reality. But it did look cool in mixed reality for sure. I don't think the other games. I don't think Star Wars Pinball. I could be wrong. I don't remember it having mixed reality. So it was kind of cool to have the table in my living room. But
would it remember it? Could you like lay it out in your room?
I could move it around.
Yeah, fair. Could you like put a few tables down, or was it just the one that you're playing? I was
just trying to use one.
Fair enough.
I didn't try.
Fair enough.
Possible. I don't know.
Fair dues. Other game, Wanderer, Fragments of Freight. Obviously, we'll talk about that in part 2. Beatable, which is a mixed reality rhythm game, is coming out this week. We'll talk about that in part 3. Civ 7, as mentioned. Harpagon is a early access, full release. It was early access, but a full release will be coming out this week as well. Harpagon's actually made from some of the folks from the original Super Hot, which
really,
I actually found that out just before the show. So yeah, made by some of those. So that's really cool because we just talked about Super Hot last week. So that's coming out. That's a PSVR 2 one. Eggy, which is the like pet dragon that comes out.
I pre-ordered that one.
Did you? That's cool. What made you pre-order it?
I think I mentioned it before on the pod, but 1, I had a small pre-order discount. 2, I'm interested to get my girlfriend's kid in this just to see how it is.
Fair enough. Rival Stars Horse Racing VR Edition comes out on Quest. That's the I saw this before, but I saw it on the Ruff Talk showcase, and it's fun. It looks like you're doing the horse racing and the jockeying, but it's not for me to take care of my horses. I just want to ride.
This one gets a nay from me.
Elements Divided comes out on April 23rd for Quest. That's published by Fast Travel Games, which have a lot of good games. But this is like a solo online combat co-op game, and it's like a horde style survival modes as well. But basically, it sees you harnessing the power of water, earth, fire, and air as an elementist.
It's kind of like Rumble.
Yeah. Ghost Town on Quest comes out on April 24th, which is from Fireproof Games, the people who do Room VR. We saw this on the VR gaming showcase, what we talked about a few weeks ago. It very similar to Seventh Guest is what it kind of looks like, where you're like a ghost hunter, and it has lots of puzzles, kind of like the Room VR as well. Only on Quest, the other platforms will get it later this year. Vestiges, the Fallen Tribes. I may have butchered that.
And I think that one might be Vestiges.
Okay, yeah, that makes me right. That's April 24th. That's developed by the folks from Ragnarock and Propagation Paradise Hotel, which is a deck building game. And Alex and the Jets comes out later on April as well. This is a mixed reality game that turns your surroundings into a battlefield with unique casual arcade fight game.
Looks cool.
Yeah, you play as Alex the Squirrel, which is fun. And then finally, I think Silent North, which we saw at the end of the Ruff Talk. This is made by Combat Waffle Studios. Ghost of the Boar is what they're on. This is a PvPvE shooter, whatever that means. Player versus everyone VR shooter, right?
Yep, you nailed it.
Kind of like a zombie game, but with like survival aspects to it as well. And then actually there's one more, Under the Pillow, comes out later on this month as well, which is like an interactive VR movie. It's currently available via itch.io on Quest if you want to get it now, but it's basically the story focuses on a handmade toy whose sole goal is to help children overcome the tough time in their lives. And that is out later this year, and this might also be a good one for you, Samson. It was in a lot of festivals like the Cannes XR Festival and so on and so forth. So this might be another one on your list.
Yeah, Dan, I think I'll buy it right now.
Right on the show. I'm not sure if there's any other games that caught your eye there, Samson, but I think I'm curious to see how Civ 7 does. I'm not interested in it myself because I'm not really into strategy games, although I did get into Age of Empires big time back in the day, but I don't think I have the patience for strategy games anymore. But Ghost Town, I'm curious because I really like Seventh Guest. I'm not going to buy this at launch, but I would like to, if it is good, I'd probably save it to like winter time next year, or the end of the year, like October, November, to be honest, when I'm in the mood.
In the mood. Be in the mood for that one for sure.
Yeah, is there any other ones that caught your eye there, Samson, or just the two?
I mean,
games?
you hit a lot of those. No, I think the what was it? The Vestiges Fallen Tribes, I think, is probably that deck building one. And then there's the Vertigo 2 Into the Ether. But the developer of that just released a short YouTube video today saying that the voice actor, Brian, never sent his
voice acting.
Never sent his voice acting in. So
he's doing it himself, right?
So he's going to do it himself. But this whole DLC is based on Brian. So it's just quite a situation there. The game's a game. What do I really care what the guy sounds like, honestly? But that's quite the situation. Yeah. And I think those two really.
Great. All right, that will wrap up part 1. In part 2, we'll get into Wanderer and Hitman VR and anything else that we've been playing. So we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord. A friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2, what we've been playing. Samson, a couple of big games came out this week. One big game for the Quest and other platforms was Wanderer, Fragments of Fate. The other one being Hitman, which came out on PSVR 2, which you'll talk about in a moment. Let's start off with the Quest title, the Wanderer Fragments of Fate. So this game, just so for those of you who don't know what this game is, it's essentially a time travel game. It's a puzzler with some combat in there as well. But essentially your grandfather has like a bunch of these like time travel tools that you kind of discover in his apartment, and then you go to different eras in there. So like what I've done so far is I've gone to space. I've gone to another area which is like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
When you're in space, are you in current what time? What time?
I actually don't know what the time period is. No, you start off in Boston, 2061 or something like that. Yeah, your neck of the woods, and then you travel to different eras and such. Okay. And yeah, from what I've seen from the original version of the game, because this is technically a remake, kind of a repackaged remake, there are a bunch of differences in there. I've not played the original, so I can't talk to you about the differences. But what I've seen is that you can go into like some of the cool eras, like you can go back to like Cold War kind of era and such, and then you can go really forward into the future, and there's a lot going on, and it's so much fun in terms of the eras that you visit, and it's a bit of a surprise when you get there as well.
I think the original did not have combat.
It didn't have as much combat. There was some, but not as much as what the Quest has, is what I read into. I could be wrong on that. But I'll give you so I played just around 2 hours or so of the game. So I did give it a bit of a go. And I'll give you the short, like TDLR version of my like impressions. I really love the idea of the game. And when it plays so well, it's so much fun and it's so interesting and curious. There's so much interactability in the world and such. But there are far too many bugs and glitches right now for me to like push forward on the game.
What type of bugs or glitches have you encountered?
Yeah, I've got lots. So okay, let's get into it. Okay, so you start with the game and you're basically in like. First of all, actually, let me just talk to you about the visuals. When you start the game, you're in the menu system and it says Wanderer at the top, and you can press start and such, and there's a desk in front of you, and you're in this like kind of dark environment. Very much had the experience of when I first went into The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and I'll make a lot of comparisons to that in a moment, and Half-Life Alyx when I first went into the menu system, and you just saw the graphical fidelity and the scale and such. This game looks awesome on Quest, but I've seen the images and I've seen a video of what it looks like on PSVR 2, and it looks absolutely phenomenal in those platforms. But with that said, sure, if you have the PSVR 2 version and the Quest version looks probably like a bit of a potato compared to it. But if you're just in Quest, it looks fantastic. Like, really impressive of how it looks and such. So that was the first thing that I noticed. But then once you're into the opening of the game, you go through this kind of like repetitive simulation where you're in this apartment and there's like a birthday or celebration or a Happy New Year that's happening. And you've got projections of people like the seventh guest showing you stuff of what happened in the past and such. And then you go through a corridor, you turn right, and then as soon as you go into the next room, it's the same room that you were in originally, but there's a different time period. So you do that like 3 or 4 times, and then you eventually get into you're in the water. So it teaches you the swimming mechanics, which are very similar to Hubris.
How'd it feel? So good.
It felt good. The swimming mechanics felt good. But then that's when the issues started to happen, where there was a ladder where you have to climb up the ladder. And it's happened so many times. And I got to a point where it started to be quite funny. But every time I got to the top of the ladder, and you know how like you get to the top of the ladder and then you hoist yourself onto the actual platform. Every time I did that, it kept jumping me off the platform back into the water. And it just kind of kept rejecting me. And I think I did it like 6 times. And I got to a point where I was like, maybe I can't play this game. Maybe this is like a game-breaking bug and such. But then eventually...
Were you changing how you were trying to come off the top each time?
I was trying to get up there, and it just wouldn't let me. And I finally got up there. And then there was like these 2 wooden platforms, and you had to jump on each platform because there's water in between. So it's teaching you how to jump. And I just couldn't get the jump right either. Like, I just couldn't jump. Every time I jumped, it kind of get to the edge of the platform, and then it hit me back into the water.
You couldn't jump far enough.
No, I was like, what's going on? Even though when I pressed the run button and such, and what I noticed is that because the game's heavily physics based, the player is completely rendered in the game, so you can see its legs, and when you look at reflections, you can see your whole full body. But the problem with that is that when you make like a jump like that, if it's not perfect, the legs kind of like go into a bend, and then it jumps you off. And this came later as well, where just a fraction later, there's a rope, and it teaches you how to kind of like rope swing. It's the amount of times I fell off with the rope swing, and maybe this is one of the things that maybe you just gotta get used to it.
To be fair, you are a lot of weight to hold on that rope.
Yeah, I guess so. I am quite tall and such, so I guess so. So yeah, I think sometimes when it's physics based, it does take a little bit to get used to. I think games like The Walking Dead do a much better job in traversing. It feels a bit more natural when you're climbing and such. This being so physics based, it's so based on everything. Like even when you're walking and you've got the rails, if you knock your hand against the rail, even though you can't see it, you can feel it on your controller, which is pretty cool. But it's very physics based, and the part of that is it's downfall, but a part of it it's really good, and we'll get into that in a moment. But so that was some of the bugs. Then once you get out of that, there is like a combat period, which is like a combat tutorial, and not good at all. Like the combat is so bad. There was a game that came out recently that we tried on the show. I don't remember what it's called, but it was kind of like an Asgard's Wrath ripoff in a way, that kind of like type of game. And the problem with that game was the combat was really bad. Like it was very physics based and did not feel good. Like you had a baseball bat in your hand, and hitting the baseball bat at someone did not feel satisfying whatsoever. Where you think of something like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, perfect.
No weight.
Yeah, but they do so well when it comes to the combat physics, because it feels so good. Like when you hit someone, a walker with a baseball bat, it feels great. And then especially if you have barbed wire on that baseball bat and such, and like something about it which feels really good in terms of the combat and kind of fun to play. This one really not good, and also when you're
really
throwing,
not good. I like
yeah,
it.
really not good. And when you're throwing fists at the start, when it's teaching you the punching, right? There's two people that come on me, and I just throw fists like this. I just like move my hands like a drummer, shall we say? Is what I'm describing on the audio listeners, and it still gets them and such, and it kills them and whatnot. And you try and sneak by, but it just doesn't feel that natural. So I really wish the combat was just not as physics based. Like I know the game's based on that, but maybe the combat, at least like the combat in Assassin's Creed Nexus feels much better than this one, and that's saying something, because the combat in Assassin's Creed is not the best either, but it feels much better.
What did you try? What's the other physics based one? The
like Blade and Sorcery and such?
No, well, I guess that one also, but the one that starts with the scene of you're in the noose.
We're in the what side?
Game now. You're in the noose.
Oh, in the Boneworks, Bone Lab.
Yeah.
But my issue with Bone Lab is that I had a game breaking bug at the start, so I couldn't really get to the combat. I saw the skeletons and such, but I just like knocked them down.
All right, so combat bad. What about the puzzles? Because it's a puzzle game in the end, right? It's not a combat.
Yeah. So this game, it reminds me a lot of Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. It's very different when it comes to story and what you're trying to do, obviously. But in terms of looks and how it feels, it's very, very Walking Dead, to be honest. So in terms of how it looks, if you can imagine Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, it has that kind of cartoony but real life kind of engine of that. And you eventually, there's actually a boat sequence where you're with this person and you're going around the town, and it's very Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. They have the same thing in the second game and the first game, I think. But Walking Dead just did it better, I think, when it comes to that. But and just didn't have any bugs or anything like that. But anyway, eventually you get to your grandfather's apartment, and that's when the game comes alive. And that's where I started to really like the game and could get away with like, okay, that's glitching, but it's fine. If I can make it through, I can make it through. It's fine. So you go into the grandfather's apartment and there's this watch that appears and he's like talking, and his name's Samuel. And basically, he's your
Good
personal assistant. And he sounds a bit like Matthew McConaughey's cousin, or basically someone who's down the south of the US at least. And he is hilarious. He's so funny. He's got great funny one-liners. He can help with providing hints to some of the puzzles, but not too much to give it away. And he just adds to the wonder of the world. Like he's there with you, and he just brings so much life to the world. And he's absolutely great. It's so much charm and personality than the actual like NPCs and such. He was incredible. So this is where the first art of puzzles happens. So the puzzle in the room, the main puzzle in that room, is to get the power on. This is before you have any time travel and such. And this is where you realize in the room, in this apartment rather, pretty much everything is usable. So this is one cool thing that happened. I was in the kitchen. There's a bunch of cockroaches on the floor, and you can actually grab one, which is gross. But anyway,
did you crunch it or what?
I actually didn't try crunching it, but okay. I did put it on a fishing rod, and I'll talk about that in a second. There was like washing up liquid and detergent and spray, like kitchen spray, cleaner spray. And there was a photo that was dirty. So what I did is I grabbed the photo, grabbed the kitchen spray, sprayed it on the photo, and then grabbed like a sponge and wiped the dirt off. And I was like, that's really cool and random. Like you can interact with quite a lot of things. Like there's VHS that's there, and you can take it, put it in the TV, turn the TV on and play the VHS.
For our younger listeners, that's kind of like a DVD.
Yeah.
And for our even younger listeners, it's kind of like watching on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. You have to physically put it in, right? I don't think we have that many younger viewers, to be fair. But a lot of things are interactable. So like the fishing rod as mentioned, with the fishing rod, you can grab a fishing rod. I found a little hook that was on the wall, and I grabbed the hook, put it on the fishing rod, got a cockroach, put it on the cockroach. Then I there's a bit of water in the elevator outside the apartment.
Elevator.
Yeah, there's like an elevator, but it's like broken. It's like broken, and then there's just water at the bottom. So I flung my fishing rod into the water, and lo and behold, I caught a frog, a big blue frog, and it was just crazy. And then I grabbed the blue frog, and then I put it in the middle of the kitchen where the cockroaches are, expecting it to eat the rest of the cockroaches, but it didn't do anything. So it was very clever all the way up.
Did it croak?
It did croak. Yeah, it did croak. It was a big-ass frog as well. But what I noticed with the cleaning and with the fishing rod, if you continue doing the puzzles in the game, it tries to encourage you to do those things. So I found them just organically, which was really fun. Okay. But there is like there's an area later on where you do have to... there's like a safe, and you need a code, and it's on one of the photos, and you need to just clean the photo, and the code is on there. So... you have that, but the puzzles were
puzzle solution spoiler.
Puzzle solution, but the puzzle solutions in the first period are very like basic, to be honest, to just help you. There's like there's one where you have to get the power on, so there's 3 different sources of power. A couple of them are really easy, but the other one is like there's fuses, and there's like 5 or 6 fuses, and you have to get it in a line to make sure the power lines up. And once you get that on, the next door opens. There was a cool puzzle where you need basically one of the doors is like, you know how like on your smartphone, maybe on like an Android phone, where you can like do a pattern with your finger to open the phone. So you had to do this pattern, but you need to figure out what the pattern is. I won't spoil this one because it's really, really cool in terms of what the code was and such. But there is, on the left-hand side, there's like a stargazing poster with different star signs, and they're like patterns. And there's like different lights that you can add to a flashlight. And when you put the flashlight on the wall, that shows you the pattern. So you kind of match that up with the actual, you have to get the right one. So I won't tell you that or anything like that. But I know the flashlight physics was really good. Like you put it far away, the flashlight image is really big. You put it closer, it's really small and such. Really fun. So you follow those, and then you get into the room, and you can do all sorts of things in that room to progress the story. So That was really cool. But yeah, I love the fact that you can interact with everything, like pretty much everything. Like you can grab a drill and a power tool like that, and you're like, oh, I can use this, but there's no battery. So then later on, you find a battery, you put it together, and you can use that to open up something on the wall. So that's where like the physics
You can just
really
use everything you find. Yeah.
you can use pretty much everything. Like not everything's interactable, but like most of the stuff are, even the things that you don't think are interactable, which is really, really cool, to be honest. Then we get into our first time travel. Okay, so you find the hidden like time travel stuff from your grandfather, shall we say, without spoiling it. And you get this little feather. Basically, I'm not sure it's why, but it's a gold feather, and it attaches to your smartwatch, and then you basically bring it to your smartwatch, and then that transports you to the next world, where you go to space, basically. And it's really cool. When there's not much going on, there's the lunar module, which is like a damaged lunar module, but it is, yeah, I did not expect that, which was really fun. So you get into there, and then you realize that the lunar module is broken down, and it's all like held up by metal, but you need an ability to cut the metal. So what you do is you go back into your Boston 2061, and you get your power tool, which is like a saw, and then you go back into the future or wherever you are in terms of space, and you bring your tool with you, and then you can cut your tool, and then that gives you something else that you can use in the apartment. So then you go back to the apartment and such. So it's one of those where it's just teaching you like you can go back and forth, bring different weapons or bring different tools to unlock different puzzles. You can wander around, and then eventually you find a tiki mask, and you can attach the tiki mask to your like watch part, and then that takes you to like a jungle like area and such, and then that starts the main story. So just a really cool concept of it. However, when I got to the jungle-like area, like it ran really well. There was hardly any bugs when I was in the apartment, and it was really solid. But when I got to the jungle-like area, which was a bit more open, that's where I saw the bugs again. It did visually struggle a little bit with the trees, a lot of anti-aliasing. I had to do some combat, which was really annoying, and I lost my baseball bat, and so I had to use fists, but they had guns, so it was very difficult. There's drones. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I was like, you know what? This is where I stopped the game, and I will play this again once it gets patched out, because the devs have already come and released a statement saying they're working on patches to help with it. The visuals aren't really a big problem, to be honest. It's more the fact that there's a lot of bugs and glitches. And also what I noticed, I think they've got the foveated rendering completely wrong, because when I'm looking at something, it's blurry. But if I lift my head up, it's clear. And if I put my head down, it's clear. It's weird. It's like in the middle where you want the actual rendering, it's blurry, but either side of it,
that seems odd.
Yeah, so you're looking at it, it's really weird. Like you see text and it's blurry, but as soon as you lift your head up, the text is clear. And I'm like, you've got this flipped, basically. It seems like it's flipped, right? So that was a big problem. And it got to the point where like I was having a lot of fun with the game, and they're so interesting with the time travel and such, that I really do want to play and finish this game. I've heard it's so good, the original on PC and such, but I will just want to wait, because I don't want to just force playing more of it with all these bugs and glitches, and it's frustrating. I'd rather wait until they've patched it out. Kimberly, a fan and Patreon of the show, she said that she had a great time with the first game, and she was saying that one had like issues as well, but the devs came in and fixed it eventually, and it was all great anyway. So she's hoping it's the same thing here, because I know she bought the game as well. So I kind of, it's been delayed like 4 times. I kind of wish it got delayed another year or 6 months or so they can patch that out, because it's the issue with games, it's always first impressions. But I think this, to sum it up here, there's a really, really, really strong game, a really strong single player game behind this. It's just mastered with bugs and glitches. And I think if they can sort that out, you can get used to probably the physics itself. But if they sort that out and maybe help with the combat, because the combat is quite dire, and it seems like there is a lot of it, I think it's going to be good. So I've got my little pros and cons list here. Pros, fantastic story, or a fantastic start, at least of the first 2 hours. I'm really into it. Great concept and ideas. It's really clever with all the interactable objects and such. And Samuel, who is the watch, is an absolute delight to have as a companion. Reminds me already like the Portal 2 companion, which is flawless, to be honest. But cons, lots of bugs and glitches. The physics system can make traversing and combat really annoying and frustrating. The foveated rendering is broken, as mentioned, and there is a lot of pop-ins that occur. I don't find it as bad as what Metro was on Quest, but there is a lot of pop-ins that can break immersion as well. But yeah, Samson, that is my thoughts on Wanderer Fragments of Fate. Let's talk about Hitman VR PSVR 2.
That was a big fragment of its fate, I will say.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I got into Golf Plus. We're going to talk about that a little bit first. With my buddy Fitzy, we played Royal Port Rush Dunluce Links and the Re-Arai Links North Course.
Mm-hmm.
I one or both of these seemed to be perhaps in like Dubai or something. I don't know. It looked like there was like a desert, an area.
Yeah.
These greens were tough.
Yeah.
These greens were definitely tough. We had a good time though. And Dan, did you know that in Golf Plus, I don't know how long you've been able to do this, but there's an in-game currency and you can gamble this in-game currency per game.
Yes, I know. I've seen that before where you can put wagers on and such, right?
Yes. So I actually played with Fitzy 2 days in a row. We played these Royal Ports Rush and Re-Arai Links. The second day, he beat me pretty handily in both of these courses.
Wow.
And we gambled 200 on each game. So he came away with 400 of my coins. But the first day, Dan, we played one of the original courses. I forget the Cliffs. We played Cliffs.
Yeah.
And we played Peaks. And Cliffs looks great. I think they must have updated it.
They would have.
It's got some really nice. It feels like you're in the Irish or English countryside.
It's like Scotland. It's like
some Stonehenge, vibes.
It feels like Scotland on the water or so. Yeah,
exactly. So that one was great, and that was the first course where we realized there was gambling, and so I said, "Oh, let's gamble like 200 here," and I won that one.
Nice.
And then the second one we played was Peaks. And Dan, Peaks is incredible. There's ice on some of these holes. So there's water, and then sometimes there's ice before you get to the Ruff or whatever, or the course. And on the ice, your ball, like, I don't know if you've ever
I don't
hit
remember
the
playing
cart.
this one. No, I don't remember.
Have you ever played
Peaks.
hit a cart path, though?
Yeah. It just bounces.
So when you hit
like
the cart
crazy.
path, it bounces really far.
Yeah.
Same thing on the ice.
Fun.
So there's a few where you can like try to skip across.
Yeah, if you hit
on
it
purpose,
perfectly.
hit the ice. Exactly. And that is my type of thing, man. It was a blast to play
Trick
that
shots.
one. And that was our second gamble. And so Fitzy at this point was feeling confident he wanted to bet more. So on this one, we bet 500 each.
Ooh.
And I won that one as well.
Oh, nice.
So I came
There you
away
go.
with
You
700.
came away, yeah.
And then I bought giraffe heads for all of my clubs. But then I realized when you play multiplayer, you can't even see the other person's bag.
Oh,
So
that's a shame. Yeah.
What really is the point of buying any of these?
Just
I
for
don't
your
know.
own. Yeah, that's a
I
shame.
don't know.
It's not like Walkabout where you have your different avatars and they all look different, so everyone can see.
You can
that
see
and
everybody's
such.
avatar, but you can't see their.
But on the
and, well,
clubs,
yeah,
on that bag of
exactly.
clubs.
So I do need to just buy cool clubs because that's the only thing the other person can see.
Right. Yeah, that's fair enough. Cool. Yeah,
But
I need
Golf
to jump
Plus,
into this.
always-
I haven't played Golf Plus for a while, but it's every time I do, it's a great time. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna add it to my list for this weekend.
They got a lot of courses.
They do.
Courses. And I'd get into Peak Stand because that was a blast.
Got it. Roger that.
And so Hitman VR on PlayStation, it went on sale, and I said I'd buy it if it went on sale, and so I bought it. And I played the tutorial, and I played the first mission, which is Paris.
Yeah.
Each one of those things I feel like took me about an hour.
Fair enough.
And I had a blast.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, Dan. My heart was going. I was feeling. I almost took it way too slow. Like the whole first level took me an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm watching other people. I since have gotten more into Hitman and watching all the things.
Yeah.
And watching people play on flat, and they're running all around. I'm like, I was creeping so slowly around those runs in VR. And so it's so immersive, almost too immersive, Dan, because one of the ways to incapacitate somebody is to come up behind them, grab them with both hands around the neck, and then you shake to make the process go faster. And that just felt a little uncomfortable at first, quite honestly.
It was not natural.
I'm now since very used to choking people out in Hitman, and it doesn't bother me as much. So you can't get over it.
Right, fair enough. You do a few more assassinations and you get used to it. Yeah,
exactly. But it's a lot of button presses for things, but I do feel like you have to do physical movements with these. So, like when I go to dump a body in a chest or whatever, I have to hold the grip and then do like a motion.
Yeah.
However, I have gotten stumped up a few times just like not realizing what the control is. For example, when poison, I was trying to turn that poison and press on all the buttons to dump the poison. Dan, I could not figure out how to get the poison into the cup.
Fair enough.
All I had to do was release grip and let go of the poison. And it went in. Yeah. I accidentally did this eventually. And
I mean, you would think after playing lots of VR games, that's how you would do it.
I would have tried it. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. But I was so used to like things being a button press. And this happened in my next thing where I had to use the crowbar.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I had to actually use the crowbar in the proper crowbar.
You thought it would be a button again.
So I was trying to just like turn it or hold it there and press a button. And so I guess I wish Hitman had less VR interaction naturally. I don't know.
Play the flat screen version.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm really liking it. It was a blast to play that first level. I'm now wanting to beat it in, of course, all the different ways you can replay it and kill them. What I did was I had 2 victims to assassinate.
Yeah.
And I didn't trap one. I got one to go back to her laptop in a more private location.
Yeah.
And I shot her. And then the next one I snuck around and there's like a dance, not a dance. What do they call it? Where there's a runner of people showing off clothing and they got to walk back and forth.
Oh, like a runway?
Yeah, like a runway. Exactly. And I went up top into the rafters up there and I dropped the runway lights on the guy and I killed a lot of innocent people too.
Wow. You seem really traumatized by this, to be honest. Every time you mention deaths, you're like, I don't want to admit this.
It's okay. It's okay.
Did you have any bugs or anything like that whilst playing the game?
No bugs, and it looks great. It looks fantastic. It looks like what Hitman looks like.
The reason why I mention it is that it's getting a PSVR 2 patch this week. So by the time people are listening to this, where it will fix a bunch of crashes. It will improve the audio and haptic feedback. It will minimize fade to black in a few places. It will fix an issue where remote explosives didn't work. It's tweaking some firearms. It fixed some listed PSVR 2 known issue. I don't know what that is. But anyway, it's got over 100 plus big bug fixes and improvements, and it's coming out Thursday. So by the time everyone's listening to this, if you have a PSVR 2. So yeah, that's why it was...
I did see something said like it doesn't auto save in VR, so I've just been saving.
That might be why.
A lot. And Hitman is a game that you want to save a lot because you can knock out some of the achievements like in the same go if you really know.
If you do that.
But
it's a shame this game didn't work properly on Quest and it didn't come over well because it seems like a great VR title, like to have a Hitman basically game and such. So it was good on paper, but it's a shame that
it's incredibly immersive. It's incredible to be Agent 47, and I am him, he is me, and we're out there assassinating thee.
If it's so immersive, I want the next time you play this, I want you wearing a bald cap So you're super and wearing a suit as well.
There was a guy I used to work with who looked like Agent 47 from behind. And then somehow the company hired somebody who looked just like that man. So there were two 47s.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe there's some scandals happening in that workplace.
Exactly. But yeah, I do, from my first impressions here, I'm loving myself some Hitman VR, and I am so glad I bought it.
Amazing.
So golf and some killing. That's what I got up to. Golf and
some assassination. And I've been doing some time traveling. Don't we love some VR? Don't we love some VR? All right, that'll do for part 2. In part 3, we'll wrap this show up with talking about the games out this week. So we'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/letstalkoculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3 of LTO 181. We're going to talk about the games out this week and wrap this show up. Samson, why don't you start off? We have 3 games on the list. What do we have first?
Beatable. Beatable's the ultimate hand-tracking rhythm action game designed entirely for mixed reality. Transform any table into a high-energy musical instrument. Tap, snap, and clap to the beat just using your hands. With precision-tuned controls and real-world haptics, every move feels incredibly natural, responsive, and satisfying. No controllers, no limits, just pure rhythm. Turn your table into the ultimate rhythm battleground. Are you beatable? I feel like they missed a chance to say turn your table into the ultimate turntable there.
Yeah. But I guess it's not just
sounds great.
Turntable, I guess.
Yeah, not at all. Dan, this game looks pretty cool for a hand track.
Seems fun.
Rhythm game. It's like, and I like the idea of getting the haptic feedback and like using the table for the beats.
I just feel like
it kind of looks like a Guitar Hero for your hands.
It's a Guitar Hero for your hands. I just feel like I'm going to annoy the hell out of my partner just tapping the table constantly.
This is true. It is more of a loud physical game for those around you.
But if you
could get a pad, maybe a soft pad.
Yeah, a soft pad while playing this. That might be the way.
Play it on a blanket.
Yeah, or play it on your bed, or on a cushion or something. I don't know. Watch this.
Or you know what? Never mind. That's the X-rated version.
Okay. So that's beatable. Next game, Civilization VII. The award-winning Civilization strategy series comes to virtual and mixed reality for the first time in franchise history. Experience a revolutionary new chapter in the Firaxis game with Sid Meier's Civilization VII VR only on MetaQuest 3 and 3S. Take your place at the command table and immerse yourself as you build an empire to stand the test of time. Chart a course for your people, engage with other leaders, research technological breakthroughs, and conquer or cooperate with rival civilizations as you explore the far reaches of the unknown world. I really hope this does well. I feel like it will do. I think Meta probably pumped a lot of $1 into that. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg being a big Civ fan also really helps with that as well. I think this will do well. I think it's going to perform well. Well, I just think it's do well for like the people who are going to buy this game.
Hope this hits
have a good time. In terms of sales, I hope it does well. In terms of sales, for sure. I just think when I said hope it does well, I mean more like I think the people who buy it are going to have a great time.
That's too high. I meant
it's not a packing game.
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000. But I think this is going to be a great game for a lot of people who are into this game. It looks great. It looks like I love the fact that when you're playing in mixed reality, the players are also in mixed reality with you, and they're dressed up as the like say if one's Egyptian, they're dressed up Egyptian and such in there, which is really fun and really cool. We've already talked about how this is probably not a game that we're both of us are going to get, right?
Yeah. Dan, I gotta say I love how you kept quiet, how half 500,000 and 500,000 are
500,000. What are you talking about?
nothing. All right.
When you
Dan, now we got
numbers.
the third one. Yeah, that's what I meant. But I was acting like I was like the way I talked about them was as if they were
the
different
same.
numbers.
Yeah, I never picked up on that either. To be fair, but anyway.
All right, here we go. Third game. The Chicken Dead.
Nice.
Welcome to the Chicken Dead. Dive into a dystopian chicken world like no other, where creativity and chaos collide. As a heroic chicken, you must face a zombie virus outbreak while unraveling the sinister plans of a giant corporation. Survival isn't just about fighting. It's about strategy, skill, and a dash of absurd fun. Join the flock, outwit the undead, and unleash your creativity in this one-of-a-kind VR adventure. The Chicken Dead is more than a game. It's a community-driven experience that evolves with its players. Are you ready to take flight and turn the tide?
This looks really cool. I don't know if this is going to be free to play or not, since it looks like what's the gorilla tag type of game where you're moving, traversing like that, and a multiplayer game itself. But they don't say anything. It's early access on April 10th. Noted. Okay, this is maybe we.
It looks like it's got some key features of thrilling tag style battles, dynamic social interaction.
It looks like Gorilla Tag in a way.
Yeah, except you can soar because you have wings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm curious to see if this is free to play. This is actually early access, even though it's weird one, right? Because on the store, it looks like it's just coming to the actual proper store and such. It doesn't say anything about early access, but if you go into their website, it says early access. So, confusing store there. But I like the Chicken name. That's quite funny. It's kind of funny.
It's a good play on words. We like that here.
Play on words. There we have it, Samson. That is our show for the day. We covered quite a lot there. Let us know in the comments and such if you have any questions or any comments on obviously the show and such.
Did you go to the Chicken Dead website?
Yeah, I did. Your mouse, your
cursor changes your mouse cursor. That is the most
early
internet
2003
I've ever seen recently. I love it. That's fantastic.
I've not. Although I spoke to someone the other day. He was an attorney, and his mouse was like bright pink and had a massive like Mickey Mouse hand. And I was like, "Whoa! I haven't seen this stuff for ages. Who changes their cursor nowadays?" But I love it. I love it. But yeah, you can do that in the Chicken website if you go on there. But yeah, that'll do for this show. Join us on Discord, as we mentioned. Thanks everyone for listening and watching the show as always. I've been Dan.
I'm Samson.
He has been Samson. He is Samson. We will see you next week for another regular episode of Let's Talk Oculus Goodness. So we'll see you then.